All right, thank you for joining. Today we'll go over Zcash, ZEC, USDT on the Binance chart. And as always, keeping it very straightforward. This is still a very popular cryptocurrency, and still nothing has really changed. We've had a couple bullish past few weeks. I mean, you can argue over the past month, actually, it's been pretty bullish. Once we came down to $190, we impulsed up on the second retest of that zone, sold off a little bit, but held a higher low on the weekly, which is very strong. And then we had a few bullish weeks followed after those that swing low was identified, right? So what can we say is going to happen next? In my opinion, even if crypto does continue to get very bullish, Zcash, I think, is limited to the upside just because of what is going on with their company. So let's go ahead and zoom into it, right? What really catches my eye is this low. This low down here on Zcash is very clean, too clean in my opinion. So what I would expect is price to come up, hit a very technical zone. As of right now, it hit the 50% retracement of this range, and more than likely will target these lows, bringing price down roughly around, let's see here, 30 to 40% down. And then after we take these lows, we can see exactly what happens next. But in my opinion, Zcash is going down to $60. Might just take about a year to get there, but that's exactly my final target for Zcash. Now, just to zoom in, let's go down to the daily, right? Because we already have the 50% marked out. We hit that level, and you can see since we've hit that 50%, right, off that overall range, we've just been selling off, right? Lower lows, lower highs on the daily, very aggressive, controlled sell-off. And I don't think this is going to slow down. I think what's going to happen next is more than likely price just continues down and at least comes down at this support at around $250, which is also a psychological level, right? If we go to Bitcoin, you can see Bitcoin locally is looking a little bit more bearish. It's right now at support, right? You can see there was a 30-minute fair value gap there, which I identified. 4-hour fair value gap is now inverted, and it looks like it's just targeting lower liquidity at around 74,500. Could possibly even come all the way back down to here, 72,000, right? And then of course the line in the sand for Bitcoin at this very moment is this 70,300. So it might take a few days, even a couple weeks possibly, where you can get a nice little retracement, comes down here, back test the trend line, reclaims it, and goes back up. And if that's to happen with Bitcoin, right, could almost think that something similar is also going to happen with Zcash, right? Where you just get price to move down lower, maybe a sweep of the lows, in my opinion, maybe down here if price sells off faster before moving back up to the upside. But for right now with Zcash, I am bearish. I've been bearish since these highs here, since we had this nice little impulse, right? If you were in this short trade from around this area, you still would have made at least 60% gain, which is very nice in a few months. That's actually amazing, right? And now something similar is really happening where Zcash can continue to sell off, another 40% dump, sweep the lows, hopefully reclaims it if you are looking to take longs, right? There's a nice little bullish order block here. Something to keep in mind, right? Which can hold up price. You can see on this order block, price came close, went up above it, impulse higher, came down again to the same level, right? Just leaving this little bit of room of liquidity. Let's see here, what can I use here? Just leaving this room of liquidity right here, right? Engineered liquidity. That's where a lot of stop losses will be placed, and that's exactly where the next target's going to be. So once we get down here, if we get a nice reaction, I would be considering going long and targeting $3.68, right? But we need to get that reaction first. We need to see exactly what the market wants to do, anticipate, react, plan ahead, and manage your risk, right? This would be a very nice trade, even if it comes back up to this 50% mark, or let's just be a little bit more conservative. Let's just say it goes to 50% off this 50%, right? Which would be roughly around, let's just see here, right? So if you end up taking a long from these lows, you can still potentially, get about a 50% gain. That's very big. So let's go ahead and see how this will play out in the next few weeks, because at this very moment, it is pretty bearish. It had a nice little impulse a few weeks ago, but even with crypto, right? Think about it. Even with Bitcoin having such a nice past few days, bullish, right? What has Zcash been doing? It's been selling off, complete opposite. So clearly, money's leaving the market, value's leaving the market for Zcash. And that's a very bad sign, because once Bitcoin gets even the slightest bearishness again, push to the downside, this is going to accelerate a lot quicker, probably get some candles like this or even like this to take out equal lows, right? Which that's exactly what's happening right now. We have some equal lows. I'm actually going to go ahead and set an alert close to these lows here. And yeah, that's just exactly what I'm looking for. Very interesting project to just trade in general, right? And one thing to keep in mind is, let's just say you wanted to see what the most important zones are. You can see from this level, right? Resistance, broke above it decisively, back tested it as support, came down, broke below it decisively, retested, failed, big candle to get above this level, tested it again, impulse higher, tested it again, went higher, broke below, tried to get above, failed it, seeked lower prices, and now look exactly where we are right here. So 360 to 380 is a nice zone where if you get above it, you can expect at least a move to the upside, probably back to around 550s. But once we are below it, this is just the dealing range that we're in, right? 375 to 184, right? So on the short side, around 48%. On the upside, if you're able to get in on the lows and it was to move to the highs, around 93%, right? Possibly even 100%. So this is a very interesting 100% range for Zcash. That's just the range I think is the most important to keep an eye on. It's just a range with the most resistance and support, the most price action. So keep that in mind if you do decide to go long and you want to trade the range. To the upside, it's about 100%, right? So not a bad range to be in. You also would like to, it's probably best to, let's see here, make sure you keep your risk management under control. The RR, realistically, still at 2.7 to 1. This is a very big, yeah, you wouldn't really want to put your stop that far away. Very small position. That's, yeah, you wouldn't really want to put it that far away. You just have to see, since the stop would be that far away, you'd have to zoom in a little bit here. See what happens at these lows. And if price comes down, starts making a little market structure change, to be a little bit more responsible, then you can take a long here. Move it a little bit closer, the stop, and then still have the same target. Your risk reward would obviously go up a lot more, so that's a 5.6 to 1. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah, very bearish on Zcash, always been bearish. Once I saw this rise happening, I just thought, I just thought, listen, this is going to be a great opportunity to short. Unfortunately, I'm not going to lie, I'm not in a short right now because I wasn't really watching the markets. And by markets, I mean I wasn't watching Zcash over the past few days. But it doesn't mean I would not take another short, right? I see a little fair value gap here on the daily, which has already been inverted. So in my opinion, that's what I am actually watching now to possibly get in on this short trade. Let's just see what's happening on the 1 hour. You can see price reacted at the 50% mark very sensitively and rejected. Also rejected from these levels too as well. All right. Maybe you could even use this one instead. Regardless, rejected again. So yeah, missed a few opportunities here to go short. So right now I'll just be hanging out waiting for a nice little pump to the upside again. And let's just see if there's any areas. Yeah, no, I mean, not really liking it. I'd have to wait for a pump to the upside before going short. Aiming for these lows here, local lows, right? 3% away, but it'd be nice to take it all the way down to these lows here, or even these lows. 27% away. So there's trades to be made, but in my opinion, I'd rather wait for a move to the upside first before going short. So let's just see how this all pans out. Thank you for joining. Remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on X. I try to post updates as often as possible. And then leave a comment below, as always, of a project you would like to see me trade. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining. Until next time, take care.